Welcome back everyone for the next part of Limbus Company. And oh my god guys, they're here. The sweepers are finally here. And do you know what that means? Not only did we gain access to a certain group of bunnies now, but also, I'm pretty sure after the sweepers there's nothing else. After this intervallo, we're heading straight to Honglu's Kanto. Just one more step. Just one more little step. With 1,000 of opponents. But just one more step. And we're almost there, Honglu. The burning castle. I can't wait. And look at them. They're all waiting for us. The bunnies are here. I can clearly see the ears, even though some of them sadly don't have any. I wonder why. Yeah, there's probably a reason to it. Maybe if I read the stories. And by the way, stories. We still need to read the Leo stories at some point. Maybe I'm going to cut it in at the end of this part or something like that. We will see, right? We will see. Now then, let's start the stages. It seems like they're already giving us a couple of shadows. That's nice. Happy New Year! Oh! Well... right! The time passes slower on their end. We just recently went for Christmas again. Well, Happy New Year, everyone! Let's see that they enjoy it. Bunter? Any idea where the leftover cakes from yesterday went? Cakes from yesterday? No idea. I mean, why would I even know that? I can't even eat anything. Ah, darn. Did Dawn already get her paws on them? Rhodia rubbed her tired eyes, muttering something about how she should have partied in her room instead, and stumbled to the back door. Okay. The new year came swiftly to the inhabitants of the bus after the various incidents in the LCE. The sinners all came from different backgrounds and parts of the city, but annual celebration of the new year seemed to be a thread that connects the cultures together. They began flooding the ideas of a New Year's party and... Excellent! Then permit me the honor of hosting this banquet! With her usual overdramatic boast, coupled with that familiar twinkle in her eyes, Dawn declared that there would indeed be a New Year's party, and thus it has been decided. Okay, I mean again? After all the hell that we went through with the backdoors and whatnot for the outs of season's Christmas celebration, Dawn is getting involved once again with a holiday. Is that a good idea? Probably not. But then again, might be fun. Yet I must insist, for that was but an effort to decorate the bus. The intent quite divorced from the act of celebration, so it shouldn't really count. Dawn glanced at Eclair, sheepishly scratching the back of her head. Oh, well, don't worry about me, really. Well, this is true that my action has brought thee quite a distress, unintentionally, I might add. Thus, I ask thee, would thou not agree that a communal event to mark the occasion might freshen both our spirit and bodies? Can't even begin to imagine her nestic self even taking a moment to give a damn about how Sinclair might take it. But I guess with memories came tact. You know, it's our first new year together. It sure's an occasion for celebration, Gotta hear the bell go ding to mark the new transition to a new year, right? It seems that we shall be welcoming the first light of the new year in company of one another. This is indeed a cause for celebration. A ball of noodles before the last night of the year fades. The classic. Oh, such bubbling enthusiasm for ye warms my very own heart. Forsooth, this grandeurs of this banquet shall be won for the books. Firework most brilliant, enough delicacy to feed the entire boss and city perhaps. And okay, Sharon, when is our next stop? Maybe we'll be running non-stop for 3 days at least. Only dum-dums stop on a fast road like this. So she says. Oh god, so we have to skip the event? We're just going to party here, but without the banquet. Oh well. Virgilus muttered with his usual sardonic edge, one fist under his chin. For next year's celebration, the banquet shall be prepared. Here at the promised hour. Oh, Don's idea of a grand banquet depressingly sizzles into nothingness. But Rhodia brought out the cake and cookies that she has stashed in her room, so that we could at least hold a small celebration for the new year together. After that, we all stayed up together, watching the New Year's first sunrise, briefly painting the city in gold, and then retired to sleep. When everyone woke up, rubbing their tired eyes, the world outside the bus had completely transformed. There was a behemoth of a structure, bizarre in its present, and its walls seemingly made of gargantuan steel plates? What is that? H.Corps? The sinners began to voice their surprise, appropriately so, as what came into view was different from any of the nests that we had passed by our journey thus far. Are those buildings and apartments etched into the walls? Into some giant box, squeezed together using every inch of their boundaries? Okay, well that's certainly a very interesting design. Wait, is that massive structure all just one building? If that whole thing is the nest, then where the hell is even the back streets? That's big enough to cover the whole H.Corps territory, and then some more! Well, there he goes again, asking dumb questions without even taking a peep at the guide. That is not the nest. That huge box that you see over there, that is District 8. We call it Hongyong, the vast garden, here at H.Corps. Hongyong? The nest lies within the center of the structure, and the back streets without. Oh, so they squeezed the entire population of the district in there. Do they really not get a ray of sunlight all year round? Well, at least they won't have to worry about the rain. Oh, pretty! And weigh me aside as well. Okay? As the sinners began to gather one by one at the other side of the bus, steering awake from their late night's rest, I felt my gaze drawn towards Hong Lu. I looked for a sigh of concern or distress on his face, or any sort of worry. It wasn't exactly something unique to Hong Lu, but the stories about his past home's life that we've heard throughout the year, whenever he felt like sharing them, were all consistently and terribly depressing, of how pretty much the entire family are threatening each other's life. It's not really nice. It's not such a bad place once you actually try living here for a while. But his lips, ever so slightly, curved upwards into a kindly and relaxed smile, are making the same expression as ever. An expression that hasn't changed at all since our first meeting. Maybe it's just a cultural difference. Kinda like how Lu can be so nonchalant about things that should give most people a pause. But actually, no. I'm not helping anyone or anything by entertaining these thoughts. My job at this moment is to keep a close eye on Hong Lu, more than usual. We're very close. And if the time comes for me to help him, ask the manager, I will give it my all. And besides, whoa, that thing is even bigger up close! Thoroughly, I carry no recollection of such a structure so grand, even though the past adventures of mine. If my efforts aren't enough, I know that I can trust the sinners to lend me a hand. Hey, let me see too. I collected my thought and approached the sinners, who were flattening up against the glass window to get a good view. Are they actually squeezing their faces on the windows? Okay, I guess that's fine. But hey, sooner or later we have to go through that anyways. You can enjoy it to the fullest once we do, right? The duel, what the hell? What do you mean duel? Oh no, is the live streamer back? There's a good chance that the live streamer might be back. And hello, Otis. Do I want to change the composition? They aren't really burn related. Or they're rapture. But then again, my Ryosh isn't really leveled up. At the very least, I could give her a chance to show her skills. Yeah, that's probably going to be fine. Have fun, Otis. Once we left the bus. Ooh! Oh man! I can't believe we have to get off the bus here! We have to make a formal complaint against H.Corps for this crap. What the hell were they even thinking? Doing shoddy construction work at the entrance of the highway that leads straight into the nest? Well, many causes there may be to be such a constructive project, yet perhaps an early warning sign here of our approaching site would have been a sensible addition. Ugh. Were it not for young Sharon's most valiant drifting, I shudder to even imagine the terrible possibilities. We could have probably fallen down. That would have been the most awful end to all of our adventures. It was no surprise that the sinners all had a piece of their mind to speak. As we drove up to the entryway, we unexpectedly came across a mess of badly put together steel plates blocking our path in the middle of the road. Sharon quickly spun the bus around, which meant that everyone ended up being thrown about like ragdolls again. Well, good thing there was another road off the highway that leads us to the city, right? I bet Sharon would have tried to reverse gear all the way back to the last interactions, even becoming a Ghost Rider if she has to. But it looks like we'll be going through all these windy alley paths to get to the nest now. Yeah, it's so dark in here as well. But look at those lights. It has some style at least, right? This is gonna be interesting. We were greeted by a dark street upon disembarking from the bus, illuminated only by faint strands of light. It was immediately obvious that we found ourselves in the back streets of H.Corps. It looked pretty impressive from the outside, but it's no different from the other back streets inside, eh? Yep, it's a familiar sight. Gotta say though, it's getting really old. I asked D, is the nest of this district shrouded in such darkness as well? No, these particular sites are limited to the back streets of District 8. The back street of District weren't any different from the other ones that we've visited in the past. People hurrying through the streets as though they were being chased by something, people growling and glaring at the ground with some sickness or discomfort. Scenes all too common in every corner of the city. There was one thing about this place that stood out from the other districts, however, and that is, well, they kind of remind me of the former H.Corps. Yes, it was a good idea to level up Otis! Yeah! But I had to swap her out. God damn it! But the soldiers of H.Corps, District 4. Maybe I'm gonna read her story today, just as a refresher. Wait, what do you mean? You mean those fellas? The growth on their flesh apparent too organic to be prosthetic. Some of them had odd protrusion or notches bulging from their skin as well. What? Not at all, Manager Bot. Look, they haven't all mutated in the same pattern. Like into insectoids, you know? Well, I guess I should commend you for not looking at them through a biased lens at least. You're observing the aftermath of District 8's distinctive method of treatment. Treatment? Oh, so this is where the rumors about the bluish healing ointment came from, huh? Apparently, they can cure any flesh wound after just one night dressed in bandage. It seems that certain misconceptions must be addressed. They are the varieties of H.Corps singularity. The bolus? The what? She's likely referring to the medicine brewed and kneaded into a ball-shaped pills. Correct. H.Corps, or the Hongyong Bioengineering Group, mainly manufactures bolus that contain essence for treatment. The bolus may be taken orally, grounded with water into a pastel and applied directly to the affected area, or dissolved with water, soaked into a bandage and wrapped around the necessary area for treatment. I see. Well, I guess rumors transform as they travel. Oh, I was just thinking about how they do things back at the, K-Corp, which was horrible. Well, the focus of K-Corp's technology is the reversal or recovery of one's condition. Returning to the original state is the keyword in their treatment. It is no rare sight to find unique techniques and technology developed independently by the inhabitants of the backstreets of District 8 using the manufactory bolos. The treatments are not individually customized for each patient. Instead, their focus is on selecting the appropriate technique for a myriad of choices to address the deficiency in their status, to improve themselves. Like those refinement pills that you usually read in Tao stories, in order to reach enlightenment. Usually speaking, they are not the most reliable things that they can use, but it usually boosts the process by a couple of 100 years, right? Perhaps one could choose the word transformation or evolution as a more illustrious description for the method of treatment. So so that is what counts as treatment around here? The crowd that Sinclair was pointing at certainly appeared unhurt, as none of them were bleeding or walking with a limb, but many of them appeared dazed, staring blankly at nothing, or scratching absent-mindedly at their mutated parts. Okay, well, they must be the regulars. The regulars? Unexpectedly, we found our answer not from Faust, not from Assault, but from Hong Lu. The regulars? Yeah, I've heard of them as a child. People who would grow too accustomed to visiting the clinics in search of their mystical treatments. The regulars might appear more intimidating than most people at first glance, but apparently all the side effects that they've been stacking changes them in a strange way. Okay? It is highly likely that inter-operational conflicts or issues will arise when applying highly dispatched treatment method to a single body. At least it's a cheaper alternative for people who didn't really sign up for the life insurance, right? You speak of life insurance? Yeah, life insurance. There's a special insurance option to bring the client back to life upon the events of their death. Actually speaking, in Library of Ruina, there's a special client and discount team specifically operating on life insurance. Can't wait to see their return at least. So the irony isn't really lost on me, but I thought resurrecting people was one of the head's taboos. The head does not consider the revival via life insurance to be a violation of their non-resurrection taboo. It is like that. On a technical level, this revival is actually categorized as brain visualization as opposed to full resurrection. Degradation of its functions considered, of course. Another fatal downside to this technology is that, unlike dementia's clock winding, the subject cannot be brought back if their brain is destroyed. Also, there is a risk of significant losses in the process of information transferences and, losses, huh? So maybe some of their mutation could be more than just the side effects of these treatments. Maybe. But I heard it would take more than 1 or 2 revivals to change that much. And since apparently people in the back streets could never even dream of paying consistent insurance renewal rates, so... After all, who would sign up for life insurance if using its service could reduce them to such a pitiful state? Yeah, they appear pathetic and pitiful to you rich bastards, don't they? Okay. You will soon be in the same boat as them, so save some pity for yourself. Okay? Identify yourself! The stranger's voice cut through our discussion like a foreign instrument. We turn around to find a large group of people who were clearly up to no good. You must be the young master of that high and mighty Ya family, eh? I can tell just by looking at your pretty face. Okay, are those your friends, Honglu? No. I haven't had much of a chance to get acquainted with people from the back streets, so nope, I've never met them before. Of course you haven't. Too busy living large, playing gods in a whole different world from us plebs, huh? Not that it matters. We're just here to take that thing that you brought here for submission to the family hierarchy evaluation. What? What evaluation? Okay, there's clearly been a misunderstanding here. There's quite a lot of them. We're not off to a great start, huh? Man. Actually, no. It would be a violation of our office core value to jump them like we're some common fucks. I, Shen Sen, third son of the 3X office, challenge Yao Bao Yu of the Year family to a duel. Our wager will be that the winner can take anything they want from the loser. Anything? Wait, what do you mean with a duel? A duel? Oh, done! I have heard tales that duels of the honorable fix of the Qing Eastern Branch announces their intent to duel by stating their affiliation and name instead of casting their gauntlets, and the pamphlet that young Ishmael had presented before me earlier presented the truth that the Tria X office is indeed an office of the East, though they are indeed of a lesser quality. This is the true and genuine, accurate declaration of a duel that we just have beholden. Oh my god. So it's just a fancy way of saying 1v1, eh? Let's go, ain't it? Yeah, I mean, this guy doesn't really look too tough. What do you think, Faust? Agreed. This individual does not seem to possess any particularly exceptionally skill that may pose any difficulties for Honglu. I think it's going to be okay. I'll be back in a minute, Dante. Have fun, Honglu! Wait, are you sure this is okay? I don't think you're going to lose against him, but, it's just in case? No worries. I have some childhood experience with duels myself. I've done about 10 of them, I think. 10? Childhoods? So the rich boy has dabbled in some duels, has he? I think you're misunderstanding here. I meant to say that I've done about 10 of them a day. Oh, but grandmother sometimes lets me skip them, so it might have been slightly fewer than that one on some days. What? Every day? I, Honglu of Limbus Company. No. I, Bao Yu of the Year family, accept this duel. Honglu stepped forward confidently, as the opponent was proceeding with what he just heard. For a moment, Honglu stood there in a stance that did not express even a hint of aggression, before curiously crocking his head to the side. Sorry, are we waiting for something? I always let the opponent get the first 2 moves in a duel, so please, don't hesitate. The first 2 moves? You little... Your cocky pride shall be your downfall! The man who introduced himself as Shan San leaped towards Hong Lu. Then, after about a minute... How's this happening? Oh! Hong Lu! Look at that! I can't believe it! Oh! Unlike Shan-san, who was throwing punches or swinging with passion, Hong Lu was just effortlessly gliding between his opponent's strike, like he was out on a picnic! I guess that guy was not challenged. Is that a rat? A glowing rat? Sorry guy, but priorities, right? Priorities! But anyways, Hong Lu is enjoying a nice picnic here. As though this was quite a leisurely stroll through the garden. Whenever Shan-san threw a powerful punch, Hong Lu redirected it to the side with ease. The fist only grazed his clothes. We were mesmerized by the feathery light movement of his hands and feet that effortlessly glided through the air. Until, after one blink, and you will miss that moment, we realized that Shan-san was already face down on the ground, defeated. Young Hong Lu! Has thou been concealing thy full strength in our presence? Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. I always put my all into every fight. Yet, to defeat this foe so soundly, to dance with such grace between his strikers, that was as though you were dueling someone whose skill may only measure against a child. But most of our fights happen in environments with a lot of variables. And we usually fight against enemies with all kinds of unexpected weapons and powers, right? True. You read him. Already familiar with that fool's move, huh? Oh, yeah. One of my Beaver's instructors used similar techniques as this gentleman over there. Practice makes perfect after all, and perfection makes an expert, right? Right, but I'm not sure if that is entirely relevant here. I mean, sure, if he uses the same techniques, you're probably able to recognize the pattern. But every person uses the pattern differently, so you can't really apply it on the fly like that. He's so angry though. Well, anyways, looks to me that he soundly kicked your behind in this duel, huh? Let us through, why don't ya? And preferably not to do the thing that I think that you're about to do. What is he about to do? This duel wasn't overseen by a notary office anyways. And our employer's not gonna let this failure slide if you just leave. Employer? Don't just sit there, guys! Move your asses and jump them! You're just so pathetic. I can kinda see how we're becoming experts at getting jumped here. With the bitter cry of defeat, his gang rushed towards us. Is that such a clever thing to do? If one of our guys were already able to just quickly dispatch of them? Is it wise for them to join the fray? I mean, they have to. Who knows what failure means to them, but still. Oh, they have bleed and haste. Oh, that's nice. And they have a lot of count. Okay, that might be a bit of an issue. Gain 3 shields for every type of negative effect on self. Okay. Clash wind inflict binds on the target once per turn. That doesn't really seem so bad. But they do look kinda cool. Maybe not with an axe though. I would probably change it up a bit. Ah, right. This is level 1. I should have changed the order after all. Oh no! Oh no! This might be a bit of an issue, but it's probably going to be fine. Yeah, surely it's gonna be absolutely fine. Ryosha can handle herself. Level 1 is not such a big difference, right? It's not such a big difference. She's already getting slowed down. They don't get a boost for speed, right? What's this now? Gain haste next turn, reduced by 1. Woo! Yeah, this is not about to happen. You need to tank it out, my girl. I mean, you could kinda die in order to swap you for another guy, but don't want to give them the opportunities to get a win against us. At least not that easily. He's going to inflict as much damage as possible, and why am I losing all my clashes right now? Am I unlucky? I might be a little bit unlucky here. Kind of feels like that I'm getting a little bit unlucky, but that should be fine. The win conditions is just all enemies in 10 turns, right? Yeah, it's probably going to be fine. There's nothing to worry about. Let's go for one of our eagles. So she's about to lose her clash. Double ref, quadruple ref, and see the damage. And now that I think about it, every negative effect on them increases their binding strength, right? So having an ailment like burn on them might actually be a bad thing, all things considered. Since it usually doesn't really fall off, and I kinda need to keep it up as well for the passes. Are they able to apply some debuffs on themselves? Or did I just remember it incorrectly? Who was the guy who had the negative thingy on himself? Or was it just speed related? Oh, it might just be speed related. Never mind, I guess I could just use all the burn in the world then. Sure, that's fine. Guess I was worried about nothing. That's always the best worry around here, right? That is always the best worry. So fast, are you able to finish him off? Oh, look at all this go! 71! Beautiful job, my girl! Where's my Ryoshu? Is she able to get a kill as well? I think she already attacked. Too bad. Maybe next time. But I seriously need to pull her out. She survived, but that was just because of luck. Let's be serious. Well, this really isn't a great start, fellas. It's just never as easy, huh? Well, at least we got a nice warm-up. It wasn't all that bad, right? True. I don't know. This seems more serious than our usual street brawls. Ishmael's right. They weren't just your everyday fucks who pick fights with random people for no good reason at all. They were contracted by someone to specifically target and eliminate Honglu. And given how open they were about their intent, calling it a contract, it doesn't seem like whoever gave that contract was exactly going for subtilement. Then maybe this is what Jia Shangchu was talking about way back when she has mentioned surviving as heir. I mean, they did talk about the succession thingy that Honglu seems to be carrying around. Maybe somebody wants to steal it from him. Well, whoever is behind this must have a bone to pick with Honglu. Indeed, it seems that we must expect some skirmish like this going forward from now on. Alas, was this trial not readily overcome? That's not the point. Think on it a little more, please. Well, seems like they're assuming that Honglu brought something here in order to participate in that family hierarchy evaluation thingy. Then there's no reason to assume that we've seen the last of them. They are going to try again to take out the competition. A highly accurate assessment of the situation by the executive manager himself. I expect no less from someone of your genius. Going for the classic brown-nosing today, huh, Otis? Since when was it brown-nosing? To compliment a job well done. Do not expect... This innate conversation is most riveting, but I would prefer some silence while we wait. It seems that the company has foreseen such difficulties. They've sent you a support team to help handle this issue. A support team? We heard voices coming from behind us, from where Virtuous was pointing. My, you guys still haven't learned how to stick to the plan, have you? It really threw me off when I was told to meet you in some back street location, away from our agreed window point. A familiar voice. A voice that we could never forget. Saudi! Ah! It's been a while, everyone! Pretty sure the last time was in the third canto with Sinclair, right? Oh! Ah! Pilot is me as well! It's good to see you guys, the sole survivors of Canto 3 and 4. Hi, I'm here too. We turned around to follow where the voices were coming from and recognized the two people we've been hoping to see again. This is great! This is great! Dear God, please protect them. Never take Saudi away from us. Never take Saudi away from us. And not Pilot either. I will sacrifice his life for this. I will sacrifice his life for this. Our guide. Alright. Oh, Saudi! And hey, it's Pilot, right? You're... Oh, what's wrong? It's like you're all looking at a ghost here. Pilot, didn't you tell me that you shared my news with them the last time around? I did! I sure did, Mom! Oh yeah, he did! But we never had an opportunity to meet face to face again. The sinners each recovered from the initial shock of seeing them again. And soon, their faces began to bloom with a relieved smile. Well, good to see that things haven't changed much around here, right? Saudi, we're so glad to see you, that you're okay. Oh, TikTok to you too. Good to see that your gear is turning just fine. Saudi smiled with a familiar grin. She did not seem to have changed much since the last time that we've met, save for a few minor differences. Her outfit and her badge, for example. A badge? Well, last that I recalled, you were promoted, yes? Allow me to congratulate you. Yeah. Or the hint of melancholy hanging from her smile and a flicker in her eye. Hey! I'm merely congratulating her on her promotion and offering a recognition of an excellent accomplishment. I don't see what your problem is. It might remind her of, her partner. But we all know the meaning that the promotion carried. Indeed. And it's very profound. After all, what meaning is there to promote and attain without spilling some blood? You are a real piece of work here. Let me ask... Come on, Greg. Let me ask you something then. If everyone behaves like you do around her, tiptoeing around the fact, keeping it hush-hush about what has happened, where is she going to get the bare minimum of the recognition and the consolation that she deserves? It's true. Hush-hush would have been nice. I've been overhearing some of them whisper that I let my partner die, just so that I could snag a promotion. Ooh, so in that regard, I really do appreciate that, Otis. If we're being technical here, I did die though, except my brain was intact. Not even H.Corps' regenerative ampoules could have revived me if it wasn't. Then, did Effie also... Well, apparently they went right to Effie's head when they stabbed him with a prosthetic. According to the cornered autopsy, so there was never a chance. H.Corps ampoules, life insurance, neither of them can revive someone with a damaged brain. It is what it is. Anyways, let's not dwell on the depressing stuff, alright? We're here for work. Let's get some work done. So let's talk about work, alright? Pilot? Yes, of course, ma'am. Well, let's see here. Coincidentally, I happen to make friends with a fella who has ties to the Year family. So I brought him over. Hey, is that everything? Like, seriously? Oh yeah, yes sir. That was all. Pilot! Just as everyone was reeling in stunned silence, at the least informative, least helpful briefing we've ever had the displeasure of sitting through. Come on, guys. Ishmael was the first to catch herself. She looked up to Saudi. Saudi, can we rely on you for some elaboration then? The briefing was a good demonstration of the necessity of educating the 5 V's and 1 H principle, aka who, where, something, 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 and how, right? Right? Well, looks like we'll have a lot to discuss here once we get back here, pilots. Oh. Did I do something wrong? You don't need to know everything, right? Shh, pilot, buddy, just stop. It's just going to dig your grave even deeper. Just be quiet. Gregor quickly leaned in to warn Pilot, but it was already too late. An unnoticeable crease had already formed between Saudi's brows. Prior to commemorating this high-priority operation, it was necessary for us to find individuals with connection to H.Corps. So we, as the Preliminary Observation Unit, were put to the task and we managed to establish a connection with an individual. Right? Someone from my family? No, we tried, but your family has proven to be a rather difficult nut to crack. However, as we were wasting our precious time with all of our leads, Pilot used an unconventional method to establish this connection. That was... I didn't really hold back on the compliments then, and this is how you... Our collaboration is a former employee of the Gia family. After leaving the family, he now runs a lodging business. Then, is it likely that he's far removed from the family policy, less motivated for him to attack us due to the conflicts of interest? Yeah, and according to Pilot's report, he still regards the Gia family positively. Oh, that's good. Well, how can I not, considering the blessing that they have given me? Unfamiliar voice butted into the conversation as though to continue Saudi's explanation. Okay. Qing Tao. I humbly present myself before the fellowship of young Master Bao Yu. Please call me Qing Tao. He greeted us in the most polite fashion before bringing his hands together in an odd motion. Okay, so this is how people greet each other here. Alright. Yep. It is called the Bao Quen gesture, bringing fist and palm together to express respect and peace towards the receiver. What? Oh, a nice greeting one another by shaking their hands for the seltsome purpose. Forsooth, thou art indeed one possessing of a cheerful spirit. Indeed. Much did I worry about the qualities of people that young master has surrounded himself with, but I see that he is in the company of those wise in the ways of the West. Whoa! Pal! Calm yourself. You looked much nicer a second ago. I prostrate myself before the vast breadth of knowledge. What grand generosity it is to open ajar the waterway of wisdom to quench the barren lands. What? Something feels familiar about this. What? Yeah, she's getting less and less verbose with bootlicking these days, right? Not like this guy for sure. That's true. It's kind of like... how should I put this? A bit much, right? What are you guys talking about? Is he like Otis? With that evil smirk? Just a little bit nicer on the edges? Alright. Anyways, communicating only by the sound a ticking clock. This is something I had already known ahead of time, yet... What a most curious exchange to behold in person! What the hell is wrong with him? Briefing this journey may be, yet I shall find myself throughout entertained in this entirety. Yes, definitely Otis. Maybe it is that subtle sprinkle of disrespect that reminds you of the usual flavor, huh? Hey, wait, is this about me? Kinda. How dare you? Was all that bootlegging she did supposed to be a source of pride for her or something? Otis shook her head with clear distaste and strode towards me. We are nothing alike. Come on, executive manager. Never had I once said such an empty flattery in your presence, filled with nothing but hot air and superlatives, right? Well, I will leave the guidance of these back streets to him. Well now, looks like this is where... Saudi felt silence, her eyes lingering on Virtuous, who stood somewhat apart from the rest of us. So, I can finally meet the Red Gaze, in the flesh. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Effie would have loved to be here. Manager. Virtuous seemed to sense her lingering gaze and walked towards us after nodding slightly in her direction. Manager Saudi, let's not make this any longer than it has to be. I'm not happy to be helping you with your businesses. I would much rather put this behind me as soon as possible. Come on, Virtuous! You could have been a little bit nicer here. Oh, please! It's our historic first collaboration operation, isn't it? Can't you spare a little more time for us? The guy Bud's actually doing something, huh? That guy. Yes, unfortunately, the LCC has our own business to take care of today, so I won't be accompanying the LCB this time. And the Red Gaze will be helping us out to get it done. And... oh, well, taking Mephi there too. Vroom vroom. Oh, maybe it's not that unfortunate. Now that I think about it. I feel like every mission with the LCB always been an uphill battle to get anything done. Well, you see, back then we... Just messing with you. I'm sure we'll have another chance to work together again. True. Boss, we don't really get much time. Wait, before you go, I think you owe us an explanation, Virtuous. I will leave the details to Miss Faust. I'm quite busy here. Very well. I wait for that. Virtuous turned around and leaped towards the Mephistopheles with an oddly disgruntled expression. Well then, I'll see you around. Next time, I will show you all. I will show you that I can carry my own weight now. You know, oh boy, the last time that we met, I really was so darn pathetic. Pilot, competence is shown through action and not words. Saudi and Pilot gave us a light nod before following Virtuous. Some sinners opened their mouth to speak, hesitated, then closed them again. We let them go without a word. Perhaps we didn't know what we could say to not make this any more awkward of a farewell. Very well then, please this way. Or maybe we were simply mindful of this guy who was responsible for the quality of our stay.